What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, December 17th, 2015, and what time is it? It's game time. Welcome to episode number 11 of John and Ted's Excellent Gamecast. I'm your host of the show and CEO of RaptorCow, Ted Edwards, and like always, I'm here with Jonathan Nadeau. What's up, my dude?
Hey, how's it going? It's the Jim Everett episode.
Jim Everett, number 11. There you go.
Jim Everett, there we go.
You gotta get it. But, John, as always, we're not alone. We have a guest with us today. We have Tim Porter. What's up, Tim?
And hi, how are you guys doing today?
Excellent.
Awesome.
We're good. Not as good as the last couple of weeks, celebrating 2 Patriot losses in a row, and a little rough weekend for the Broncos, I'd have to say, huh?
Tides turned on us.
Yes, they have definitely turned. It was a rough one. I'm sure John is a little somber today, so we'll have to cheer him up, Tim.
Yeah, I think Denver went in. You know, they're playing at home. They're playing the Raiders. What'd you say? It was like 8 years since the Raiders won there, so they're probably going in thinking we're going to win this thing.
It's not they won any at all. Not there, just at all. They haven't beat the Broncos in 8 years.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, they're just like we're going to win this thing. You know, and I think they just look at, you know, their guard was down, I think.
Yeah, it was rough too. I mean, turnovers and actually the Raider defense was nuts. I mean, one dude had 5 sacks. It was just alone. So it was crazy. Tim, football fan at all? You have a team?
Oh no, not really.
Okay. Do you have
It's like supposed to screen these guys.
I know. What is going on, man? Like, bummer. But no, it's all good. So I have to give a shout out to the Froyo Bros, Mike and Rob. They are going through a little rough time with their dad right now, and just have to, you know, tell that their thoughts and prayers are with you guys. So, hopefully everything's going good now. I think everything's stable, and he's fine, but just had a rough couple days with him. So, had to give a shout out to those guys. So, Mike and Rob, thinking about you. So, what's going on, Tim? Like we give everybody when they first come on, we have a third voice that's here, and so give everyone a little rundown of who you are, so they know who the heck that guy is who's chiming in with us.
Sure. So my name's Tim Porter. I am a technical artist. I just moved to the Los Angeles area. I originally started my career 2007. I graduated from Full Sail University down in Florida, and after that, I started continuing to work throughout the industry, and I've done everything from medical simulations to AAA titles to slot machines, and everything in between.
That's cool.
Right on. That's slot machines. Wait, let's go. Do you have any insider tips when I go to Vegas? What's up?
Yeah, don't play them. You're going to lose.
Oh, man. I really like slot machines.
You know what's insane? Here's a little rabbit trail. One of my friends is one of the top accountants for the casinos up here in Connecticut, one of the Indian casinos. And he was telling me that those slot machines, at least the one in the Indian casinos, are running like Windows 3.1.
Oh, my goodness.
If you're lucky.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, wow,
dropping
dude.
little bins and everything. Are they playing ski free on them too as well?
I have no idea. But I was like, man, they need to update those things. He's like, oh no, they're never going to update. You know, especially if the slot machine makers are still making money. Why bother?
Yeah, I guess, dude, if you think about it, they're probably just running the solitaire game, the same program.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all actually run off Minesweep. You'd be surprised.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the little mouse and the cheese or mousetrap. Remember that one? Man, that's 3.1. That takes me back. All the young listeners are like, what? What's that? I didn't know there was something like that. There's something before Windows Vista? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Shoot, I remember even just the old DOS command prompt, man. I used to do that all the time. Remember having to play your old games? You had like 19 discs, and like you would install each one and then type in the commands to install them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember on my Commodore, typing stuff in to get those games going.
Oh yeah.
Look,
yeah.
star, comma 8, comma 1, hit enter.
Yeah, I remember when we got a computer with Windows 3.1, it was like, whoa, this is ridiculous. Like, holy cow. What do we do? And then, like, when you got the computer with the CD drive, you're like, wait, what is going on here?
Yeah, they still make the Windows emulator. The DOS emulator. It's called DOSBox.
Yeah, I have that actually. The DOSBox.
Old DOS games on that. It's pretty cool.
I do. It takes a little bit to set it up. If you're not computer savvy, it's a little difficult. But no, I've got mine set up, and I run like my old first Warcraft games, Load Runner and Load Runner 2.
Oh yeah,
those are my jams. So.
Oh yeah, I hear you
for sure. Yep. So. Have you guys heard about or seen this weekend? There was a lot of movie trailers. I have to talk about them. Like, since everyone knows, Star Wars is coming out in less than a week, and actually tomorrow, actually. But it's huge. But there's a couple of movies. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time is Independence Day. And the trailer for Independence Day 2 or Independence Day, I think it's like Resurgence or something, is hit, and I was pumped. And then there's X-Men Apocalypse is coming, and then the new Star Trek is coming. So I was like, dang, that just hit. So I was excited. I have to talk about that a little.
So I have one thing to say about Star Wars. I'm going to be very mad if Luke Skywalker is actually on the dark side.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to hear, honestly, since about the last 2 months, I have not watched a trailer or anything because I
someone I don't know if it was on Facebook or whatever, but someone I might have been talking to, they were saying like, yes, I want the last trailers, and it seemed like they were hinting at Skywalker possibly being on the dark side. I was like,
well, thanks, spoilers.
I was like, if he is, I don't even want to see that movie then. If that's the case, like, it's ridiculous if he is.
Well, hey, like he has it in his blood.
I guess, but he turned his father, kind of away from the dark side right before he died to turn over to the dark side. Like, that doesn't make sense.
It totally does. I mean, like he's got the bad blood in him. He's gonna turn. Luke, turn. Or like on Tommy Boy, Lu, I am your father. Sorry. But no, like I'm gonna see it, but now I'm kind of debating when I can see it because I have to wait for Shauna to see it, and she leaves out of town for like 8 days on Friday.
Just don't tell her you saw it.
I know, but that's what I was thinking. Don't listen to this.
I won't say.
Yeah. Are you gonna go see it, Tim?
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely going Friday. Actually, the guys at Red 5 Studios gave some buddies that I had. And he was like, hey, I got 2 extra tickets, so me and my wife are going to be going.
Oh, look at that. That's money.
Are you going to go to the midnight showing, and are you going to dress up as someone?
No, it's going to be the middle of the day. No, I'm going to go to the midnight showing. No.
Well, here in LA, John, they're starting to show it on Thursday. So
really?
Yeah, like Thursday, the first show is Thursday at 6:45 p.m. There's a bunch of them. So
how are you guys getting away with that?
Yeah, it's LA. All the movies, you know how it goes.
Yeah. You saw what Lucasfilm is doing. They're actually everybody that was waiting in line at Mann's Chinese Theater. He brought them inside, and then as well, they're actually giving them a pre-party and an after-party. So they get to go to like the actual after-party for the Star Wars movie. It's insane.
That rocks.
Yeah.
He's got
if you take a week off of work, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay. Here's a question for you guys. Cosplay. If you, I'm not into it necessarily. I like dressing up every once in a while, like for Halloween or something. But I'm not a cosplayer. I go to Comic-Con. But if you had to cosplay one Star Wars character, who would you be?
Ooh.
Gun to your head. You had to.
Man.
Tim, what do you got?
I said Princess
Leia. Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. Slave outfit and all. That's.
Ooh, okay.
Bikini, everything. The gold bikini.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
All right. The mental image that I was not expecting right now. I see you in a totally different light. So when we hang out at the meetup here soon, I'm going to look at you like Princess Leia, just so you know.
Yeah, the gold bikini, the chain on her. You know?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, cool. John, what do you got? We have Leia. We have Leia.
It's Boba Fett, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good one. Nice. I would be probably Jabba.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, because then I could hold a chain on Leia. Yeah, Tim.
Go. and stick your big tongue out and. This is not going good.
Yeah, well, hey, we've already got the cross dressing first thing in the morning, and we're talking about that. It's good. So, hey, you know what? We have you in a whole new light, Tim. I'm sure listeners are like, that guy. You've positioned yourself as an expert now.
Man. Or maybe I'd want to be Obi-Wan from A New Hope, like old Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, see, old Obi-Wan, that'd be good.
Yeah.
You don't want to do this. Yeah, the Jedi mind trick.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. Perfect. Well, actually, I have a fun story that I never seen happen. That was a totally terrible segue, but I just thought of it. I've seen car wrecks before. I mean, no one wants to see a car wreck, John, and as we know, they can get bad. But it wasn't a wreck, but it was
see mine.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure, especially hearing the story of that. But little car accidents or oopses are kind of funny. And I saw somebody on Sunday, I think it was. Yeah, it was a young kid, maybe like 20 years old. He was taking a right turn, and some lady ran the red light or like the yellow light, and so he tried to swerve. He missed and ran over the light post, like for the traffic light, and ran it over, and it knocked it down. I was walking with Shauna, and it was like maybe 200 feet in front of us. If we would have like been, like 10 seconds earlier, the post would have fell on us. But yeah, and literally, the car ran over the telephone, or excuse me, the traffic light post, and just ran it over. And I've never seen anything like that before. And the kid got out, and he was like freaking out, and like, whoa, calm down. He was in with his grandma, I guess, and the lady who cut him off kind of pulled over, looked out, and then like took off. So,
she's like, "Oh, okay, we're good."
Yeah. So
how much the city's going to charge him for that post?
Well, yeah, we kept walking because we were walking to brunch, and then we come back after brunch, and there already the public works is already on it, and there's a officer there, and the kid's gone and everything, but I guess the kid hung around, and so we talked to the officer on the way back because it was parked right next to us, and she's like, "Yeah, he was a good kid, but we already looked at the tape in the intersection, and he shouldn't have been taking the right, so she's at fault, and it's gonna be taken care of, but he's gonna get a ticket and this and that." And I was like, "Ooh, bummer."
Yeah, because I've heard before, like sometimes when people get in car accidents, they have a telephone pole,
yeah,
and if it's really bad, it'll take out the telephone pole.
Right.
Well, they'll charge the driver to replace the telephone pole. Those things are like $2,000 or $3,000, and I'm like,
course.
they're just big chunks of tree. Like,
but not to mention all the electrical, like the transponders up top, and like all the damage it causes, and all that stuff. Yeah, but I've never seen a traffic light post get run over. The whole traffic light was on the ground, broken, and everything. I was like, wow.
Must not be much to those. I mean, he obviously could have only been going 5 to 8 miles an hour or something.
He was cool because he swerved and he like gunned it, like to get out of the way. But
okay.
But yeah, I guess I should clarify. On the intersections how it's those telephone, like the I keep saying telephone pole. It was the light poles that are the single poles with the light on top. So it wasn't the big ones that go over the top. It was one of the ones on the side, the side street
like
one.
On the corner or whatever, right?
Yeah. So it was like one of those. But he it was under his car. I was like, and he just like moved over it. I was like, And he just kept going too. The funny thing is, like, he ran it over, like did like a wheelie on it and ran over, and so the light post was like underneath him, and then he like ran over and then just pulled over to the side because he ran over it so hard. What? Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. But I think the scariest thing.
Bought that Humvee.
Yeah, exactly. I think the scariest thing though was that it was like 200 feet in front of me, and so like because we just like went into the car, parked. If let's say I would have like not hit a red light earlier or just turned a little faster, and we would have got out like 10 seconds earlier, that would have been on top of us.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. You never know, man. You never know.
Nope, you definitely don't.
So, yeah, guys. So, Tim, are you ready for some news, dude?
Yes.
All right. So, how about you, John? Ready for some news?
Oh, yeah. Always ready.
We don't have a lot of news this week. It's kind of, Christmas is coming up. There's a couple things here and there, so we'll blaze through this. I've actually been playing a lot of Fallout now, and I'm kind of overwhelmed with games because with the new PS4, and I just got Destiny, so I'm like, ugh. And then I got Fallout, and I'm playing Battlefront and playing Rocket League. So I have all these games, but I wish I could do this for Fallout, and it'd be nice. So a world record was set for beating Fallout 4 as fast as possible. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
Yeah. 1 hour, 9 minutes, 29 seconds.
Wow. So he was just blasting through and didn't even try getting any of the like extra stuff or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Tim, did you see that story or whatever?
That's insane. Yeah, what was he on?
It was he's a well-known speedrunner. So he's one of those speedrunner guys who blasts games out in like 5 seconds. Yeah, so it was done on very easy difficulty. He spec'd his character for max agility and endurance so he could just run it. And he beat the whole game in an hour and 9 minutes, 29 seconds, a game that takes hundreds of hours.
Speedrunner sounds more like a speed smuggler, like the drug speed.
Yes.
Or like a smuggler speed.
Maybe
Speedrunner.
Right?
Oh, the Speed the movie. So yeah, he had to keep it over 55.
55.
Exactly.
And then Keanu Reeves was like, "Whoa." The whole time.
Yeah, he's helping him along the way. He's his Obi-Wan.
Yes. Whoa. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, especially a game that I'm overwhelmed with, kind of trying to go through, and just I'm methodical and slow. Like I'm on the first mission, and I'm already like hours in the game. Like you should be done in like an hour, and I'm already way over that. So on the first mission, because I'm getting everything, and I'm building my little settlement, and I've already found 2 sets of power armor that you're not supposed to get to until you get to the first mission, because I've been exploring. I'm like, oh, look at this. What is this?
I like that. Make levels 2, 3, and 4 go easier.
Oh yeah, exactly. I can just jump in that and go take on level 20 guys and get some cool loot. Yeah, but yeah. So the guy, he's a well-known speedrunner. He did it in Fallout 3 and a lot of other games. But yeah, and he did it on it's like a category where you can do it on any percentage and easy difficulty. So he jacked it down so he didn't really have to die or anything, but he just still sprinted through the game. So crazy. So now I know how to play games now. If I just want to get through them, an hour and 9 minutes, I can do it. So PlayStation. Interesting news out of PlayStation Australia. I wonder if Homeboy is going to get a little reprimand for this, but I won't put him on blast, but we'll say the managing director for Sony Computer Entertainment Australia said, quote, the first-party lineup of Sony was not as strong in 2015. So, admittedly saying that, and that's kind of interesting from a big company kind of admitting their lack of, first-party lineup. So, yeah, I mean, the indie scene's coming out pretty hardcore, and I think that's what Sony's been leaning on, or in third-party games. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I can definitely say I think that he's right. For this year, it hasn't been really big, but they're spending a lot of money and a lot of energy trying to go more towards the VR market. I think they're just, being a little silent killer right now, and I think he actually spoke out of turn.
Yeah, I agree with that, too. That's why I was wondering if he's going to get a little reprimand from that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Especially like in Australian territory, which, I mean, it's still a market, but it's nothing like, the European or North American market. So, I mean, like I said, the third-party lineup and indie scene for PlayStation has been pretty solid. There's been some good games out there. But obviously, first-party has not been here. And people know that. But they've been happy enough with the games. I guess the first-party lineups were like Bloodborne, The Order, and Until Dawn. Those are the exclusives. But other than that, it's just been, a bunch of other games and crossovers. So, I mean,
I'm surprised that they don't have as good as title, or they didn't have as good as titles in the beginning, because technically the PS4 hardware is better than the Xbox One.
This is true.
So the developers could take advantage of. I think it's got a slightly more RAM, but I think the processor is
the processor is faster too. It is. Okay. Yeah.
So,
wasn't that the same for the PS3 as well? And they got slaughtered in a lot of the games.
Right.
Well, the problem with the PS3 is that they were still using
processor.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, at least now Xbox One and PS4 are x86 architecture, so it's easier to build a game from one platform and easily port it over to the other now. But, I'm just surprised that more developers weren't leaning towards the better hardware to use it for everything it was worth.
Well, it's not that they weren't leaning towards it. It's just that they were the first party studios that are under PlayStation just weren't putting out their games yet. And I think now we're 2 years into the console's life cycle. People have figured it out. Now they can start really leveraging the hardware. And so when you get a dev kit, 2 years before something comes out, right? It's still, you still don't know it. You still can't leverage, the tool you're using yet. But now the PS4 has its architecture set. We've had the games, we have the precedent, we know what's up. So now in 2016, they have a really big home run lineup ready to hit. They have Gran Turismo, No Man's Sky, Street Fighter, Uncharted 4, Last Guardian. So they've got some games that are coming out like big time. These are all PS4 first parties. Like that's it. So I mean, the 2016 lineup is looking good, but for someone in PlayStation to say that, it's like, ooh, like I'm sure, like he is taking a nice hit on that. So, but yeah, good call on that, Tim. Spoken that turn a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's that. But Star Citizen, got to go back to that. I think it's like 3 episodes in a row talking about it. But hey, it's what we do, and crowdfunding is a thing. That's and 100 million now. It surpassed it, John.
Wow.
Yeah, right. What could you do with $100 million, Tim?
I could definitely tell you I can shake my head and say, why can't they make their own money?
All right. Oh, so this is interesting. This is interesting. Okay, let's hear your thoughts on crowdfunding. I like to get the whole crowdfunding game thing. Let's get into that.
Yeah, sure. So my big thing is I understand it for the indie developer. I understand it for the middle small developer guys. But I mean, this is the Wing Commander guys. This is he's been around forever, and why is he not doing it on his own? I mean, you're starting
he was
to see,
able to. He had the pull to do this.
I understand that, but I mean, it's like it's really supposed to be there to help out people who can't make money on their own. He could get funding.
Right.
He can get real.
Yeah, and then lose a percentage of the game.
Yeah, I understand it economically, but I don't. Maybe
ethically,
it's a philosophical kind of thing I'm going on here.
Right.
I don't know.
No, you know what? I feel you on that. Like I'm in the same kind of wheelhouse. I think the reason I am is because when you crowdfund and you're a smaller, you're a single person, a single dev, or if you're crowdfunding your idea, you're a person. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time to do a crowdfunding campaign, right, John? It's a lot, and it's a lot of preparation. Now, these big companies that do their crowdfunding campaigns, they are already a step ahead because they have the resources. Because let's say they have a crowdfunding campaign and their goal is $500,000, right? They can put in $50,000 into marketing a $500,000 campaign, and then they get $450,000 of free money. Mm-hmm. It's like that. But at the same time, if you're a smaller studio and you're like, man, we have like $1,000 budget to help this, just to get a crowdfunding campaign out there, we need $100,000. You might not hit your goal, and then where are you at? But like these bigger things, they can put that money in and take it. It's a net gain for them. So like that's why they did it, because economically, you're right, it makes sense. Like it's just they have the will, the pull, the clout, all the above to do it. And now it's 100 million, and and then just I think last week finally an alpha came out to play, and it's okay. I've seen some Let's Plays of it. It looks decent, but it's like it's been almost 2 years now. You have 100 million in the bank. What are you doing with it?
Oh no, they've been doing it since 2012. Their initial crowdfunder was
right.
way back in the day.
Yeah, but then they started developing like 2013.
Oh yeah. No, you're right.
But no, you're on the ball. So it's like, what? I mean, what? I mean, it looks decent. Like there's some things you can do, but it's like, okay, you got 100 mil in the bank. Like that's a lot of money. Like develop.
They've opened up something like 5 or 6 studios off of this. It's just, if we replaced, Star Citizen with Microsoft, everybody would be in an uproar.
Yep.
That's still my feeling on this. And just like you said, what do they have for it? What do they have to show?
That's an interesting take on it. I didn't think about that, John. Like, what if this is like another big company? Like, let's say even put Blizzard in there or some other like a studio, right? Not just a game or an idea, like a high concept thing. Like, put a studio who does this. People would be kind of pissed, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they're dragging their feet, sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what like, yeah, why are we giving them a pass? You know, like I think because the idea is so cool that we want it to be honestly, because like, I think the idea of Star Citizen is phenomenal. Like a fully like realized universe where it's like, you know, Second Life. You can just go in there and just be and do whatever the heck you want in a giant galaxy. That sounds phenomenal. But you know, like just what they're doing, and then, you know, the whole talking about it, 2 years in development, you can fly a ship around. Yay.
Yeah, but for something like that, for that type of a world, though, that's some serious back end work going on.
Oh man. So that's why I'm a little kind of slow to cast judgment on it, because I'm like, I understand that it's really going to take a lot into it, you know, like to
and
make
it's going to take a mammoth setup once, you know, you have
server side. Good lord.
Yeah. Once you have X amount of people hitting the server, I mean, so
they're going to have to buy Amarillo, Texas.
Seriously, probably the last 2 years have been just putting in the infrastructure. Like they probably haven't barely coded the game. That's why you see this little early alpha build, because I would say most of the work's been just getting the thing ready to be used. You know, for even handle.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure they have to build that server and build that base, because again, just to make an expansive 3D living universe alone, just the amount of freaking terabytes and whatever you want, whatever bytes, teraflops, petaflops. So just that requires just the amount of data just in the game alone. Not to mention when you get, you know, 5 million, 10 million players transferring data, just and then being able to, you know, render that, being able to have the memory and the RAM to, it's insane. Like,
yeah, so. I mean, they're probably gonna have to keep pushing some more iterations out quicker than, you know, this alpha build, but at least they got something out there to show them. Okay, look, this little, you know, like, yeah, you can only fly a ship, but look, it works, and so far it's doing, you know, some of what we said it would do. So, I'm sure they're getting some pressure on the other end, saying you better put something out, or you're gonna start to catch hell from these people that have put, you know, throwing in $100 million. So they probably just had to get something out just to show them, don't worry, it's still coming. This isn't vaporware.
Yeah, people putting $100 million in. One fan already spent $30,000 in game. For $30,000, man, I'm gonna buy not a video game.
Dude,
thing.
For $30,000, you could have hired someone to make your own game.
Yeah, like seriously, yeah. But I guess so this is okay. Here's what makes the game so cool, right? So in the game, supposedly, you'll be able to, you'll pop in as like a person and like a cadet out of like a Starfleet Academy or whatever, right? And you're just a person in this giant universe, or maybe an alien, maybe they're different races, I don't know, right? So you're in this giant universe, you can do whatever, and you can go on planets, you can do this, you can be a pirate, you can be a fighter, or go down and, you know, whatever you want to do, right? Well, the whole thing is like you get ships, right? And there's like fighter ships and everything, but the cool thing is there are giant like battle cruisers that take literally like 50 to 100 players to command and move and work. So these and then you can buy the battle cruisers. So this person with $30,000 bought themselves their own battle cruiser.
Wow.
So they own a battle cruiser.
Yeah.
So that's what the cool thing about the game is. It's like these ships are like these massive. I mean, it goes all the way up from like, you know, tiny small one person ships, all, you know, 10, 20, 15, all the way up like hundreds and hundreds of different types of ships. But like, yeah, there's these giant, like huge, you know, like things that you can get. And so this person bought themselves a $30,000 in-game ship. Instead, they could have bought a used BMW. You know?
Yeah, seriously.
Right?
It reminds me of EVE Online. I don't know if
it's exactly. No, that's what it is. It's EVE Online. That's what they're trying to make it like. Yeah. It's EVE Online meets every other, like Sins of a Solar Empire meets No Man's Sky meets World of Warcraft, all the above. Yeah. Yeah, it's EVE Online in 3D world, but you can, instead of text-based with no spreadsheets. Yeah. So, yeah, those EVE Online players are nuts, though, man.
Yeah, I know. They're still playing, man. It's like, what, 22 years later?
Yeah. Oh, man. And they're doing crazy stuff, like in Russia, like doing currency exchanges, and like people are getting like offed over the game, man. It's crazy.
Well, in Russia.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Russia.
Russia. Like mother of Russia. Don't talk to me, huh? My name is Vladimir. Want to play my game EVE Online? Okay, that was sorry, Russian people who listen to it. I apologize for my terrible accent. All right, moving on. I was pumped to see this. Tim, did you ever have a chance to play Parappa the Rapper on PlayStation 1?
Like way back in the day.
Yeah, that's like one of the greatest games of all time. Yeah, as far as like, that set the tone for rhythm games. There would be no Guitar Hero without Parappa the Rapper. Yeah, so Kick Punch is all in the mind. But yeah, Parappa the Rapper 2 is coming to PS4, the PlayStation 2 Classic. So I was happy about that. So that's kind of cool. They're doing a lot of PS2 emulation on the PS4 now. So they just came out with that recently. So yeah, now that's one of the games that's released. So sweet. Oh yeah, this is the next story is pretty cool. I think, John, we willed this into existence, and then we stirred the pot. I think I sent the article to you. Did you have a chance to check it out? The energy drink battle.
Oh yeah, yep.
Monster Gaming tweeted a picture of cases of Monster. Like here's a picture, like 3 cases stacked on each other. It's like, hey, where should we send these to? Like helping fans be like, hey, my house. Hey, retweet. You know, like just trying to get some. You know. Yeah. And this is because esports is big now, and you obviously some caffeine to get jolted. So like all these energy drink companies are gonna jump on the board. And we've had our energy drink conversations the last couple episodes, so this works perfectly. But I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Red Bull, I guess the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, that we discussed, responded to the picture at them with a picture of a dumpster.
Oh man!
Oh, I thought that was awesome.
Fight words.
Yeah, it's so Monster. Yeah, it's a Monster Gaming. I think at Monster Gaming was like, hey, where should we send these to? Red Bull put a picture of the dumpster, and then it said like Monster Shop below it, right? Well, Monster came back with a sick burn that says, well, we can't deliver them to your house. I laughed.
It's great. I missed that.
I know, right? Things are getting a little spicy there. I had to say. Oh man, like, don't you love Twitter battles between companies? Oh. It's just like high school all over again. Mean Girls.
Oh yeah,
man. They should. Ted, do you remember? This is 20 years ago, maybe 18 years ago. During the Super Bowls, they had for a few years they had those Bud Bowls.
The Bud Bowl, yeah.
They had Budweiser against Bud Light, and then had the bottles of beer with the helmets on and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Red Bull and Monster need to have like a Bud Bowl for video
energy
games.
Drinks. Yeah, energy drink video games for sure. I think that'd be good. See who is the winner, and then Rockstar just comes in and is like, hey, what about me, guys?
Wait, you're still around?
Yeah. Or actually, I guess I've been schooled on balls now.
Oh yeah,
I guess
You've never heard of balls?
I haven't. And
they have like 4 different flavors.
Yeah,
the best one's the cola.
Cola balls, huh?
It's phenomenal.
All right, I will have to try that the next time I'm feeling low and you need to pick me up.
From what I remember, that was by far the best tasting energy drink. Like, really? It was no as disgusting as like Red Bull or whatever.
Huh.
If you have a sweet tooth, there's one out there called Liquid Ice. Oh, man, it hits the back of your teeth, but it tastes like a sweet tart, a blue sweet tart.
I do. The blue ones are the best ones. Yep.
Exactly. Okay. It's exactly what it tastes like.
I'm on it. I'm on it. Done. Say no more. Yeah, so I will... again, Shauna's going out of town for a week, so I'll have a lot of time to do work and play video games till 4 a.m, so I will get some balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, you know what I mean.
Too easy. We let you go on.
Dang, I was like, I was the underhand. Come on, guys. I set that up on the tee for you.
Guy. We got to,
So Shauna has to leave, and you'll get some balls. Okay.
Oh man. I set myself up for that. All right, moving on. I think that's all we got for news today. Anything else, guys?
I think that's about it.
Cool. Well, yes, listeners, we have our guest Tim Porter here, who did a nice diss on my balls, and he's a technical artist and just new to the LA area and looking to do some cool things. He's our subject matter expert of the day, and we're going to get into his interview segment right after this quick break. hey guys, I found my balls.
Nice.
Yeah, they're good. I found them. So everything is all set. So we're back, and we're here with Tim Porter, and we're going to get into an interview with him, with our resident journalist on staff, Jonathan Nadeau. So without further ado, let's dive deep and see what we got.
All right, Tim, thanks for coming on today. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
So Tim, I guess for the people listening, before we dive too deep into the details of how you got where you're at, what is a technical artist, and what are the differences between a technical artist and maybe someone that's in just kind of design or some of the other things that have to do with video game development?
See, we set you up, Tim. I told you.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. Yeah, because this is actually something that it doesn't even matter where I go, what studios I go to. Technical artist is such a different term at every single studio. I can definitely say what I am as a technical artist. Now, every technical artist brings something different because we're basically generalists, not just along the side of art. Mm-hmm. We're generalists when it comes to coding, to technical abilities. Some people are more along the lines of what are called a technical animator, so they're really good at rigging and they're good at hair dev and things like that. And then there are people like me who are more on the pipeline side of things, which means I'm better at doing like Python. I'm better doing it automation. I'm better at tools for artists. I'm better at acting as an interdepartment liaison.
I was just going to say that you're the liaison between the art and the tech guys.
And producers and design, because so let's give you a scenario. Dev team comes to me and they go, "Hey Tim, we've come up with these specs, and originally you had come up with these specs, but we're figuring out as we're getting further in that we need this memory allotted for this specific process. You need to go back to the artist and come up with a different solution on the way it works." Well, I can't just go to the artist. I have to go back to the designers who originally built it. So I go back to the artist, and then I go, "Hey, what if we go ahead and we do it this way? It gets 95% of the look, and then it fits in our technical specifications." Oh, I like that idea. Okay, now I got to go back to the designers, and then it's a back and forth process between them, and then I have to go ahead and go back to the producers to make sure it works all within our timeline.
Right.
So it's a dance. It is always a dance.
Totally.
I love it.
That's pretty awesome, though. Yeah.
Man, yeah, it makes you miss those 16 megabyte days of RAM. Like,
oh God, no, nothing but that. See.
No, that's cool. It makes me think of when you said technical artists can be a myriad of things. To me, that's what cloud computing is. Like, everything's cloud computing now. It can mean so many different things to so many different people. It's crazy. So, but would you say that generally a technical artist would be? I guess you'd be more of a liaison, like you're saying, between like the devs and the artists, because developer people are just like, they understand code. They don't understand, design and stuff like that. And the people that design, they don't, whatever, just make it work. As long as it looks like what I gave you, I don't care, get it done. And so you have to kind of bridge the gap between everyone and get them all on the same page.
Oh yeah, that's actually my biggest job. I can honestly say there are technical artists out there who don't even know how to code. And the reason why they're very good at what they do is because they can go in between each one of the different departments. They can help come up with answers. They can help problem solve and troubleshoot and try to make things work within what they work in. Of course, all of them.
So you're a good BSer.
You get really good at that. I actually used to be a car salesman.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, there we go.
That was actually that was the biggest thing for me is you gotta sell people on whatever vehicle you're going on.
That's awesome.
This is the car for you right here. This one.
Perfect. Princess Leia car salesman, huh? Man, Tim, you're painting a good picture of yourself.
I thought an offhanded comment maybe would have gone away.
Oh, no, we'll bring it back the whole time.
So Tim, what brought you into wanting to be in the technical artist realm? Obviously, you have somewhat of a developer background if you know how to do Python. So what got you to where you're at now?
Yeah, so I was originally, when I graduated college, going more towards shading and lighting. And the one thing that I found out is, shading and lighting obviously takes a considerable amount of time. You're sitting there, you're rendering, You're waiting for things to happen, and so I got very good at optimizing things and making it to where I learned how to make the magic. And that's basically all you're doing as a tech artist is you're like, sparkles. Oh, that looks great. You try to make it hide behind all of the different things that are going on. But obviously, as my career continued on, I went to game studios, I went to art houses and things like that, and I found that developers are just like my dad, and the art team is just like my mom. So my dad is an electrical engineer, and he had a minors in math, not a joke. He went to math classes as electives.
Gross.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a math guy though, so I kind of like that.
Oh, well, yeah, it has its uses. I can honestly say, math is the language of the world. It's the language of music, and people don't realize that. But
totally.
On the other side, she is a theater person. I grew up in radio and television. She would take me along with her. And so, for me, it was a natural, transition to go ahead and go, okay, I'm talking to the dev team. The dev is, they're talking this way, and then the art team's talking this way, and then trying to marry it all together. That becomes obviously very useful, and as you've heard. And then as I moved along later in my career, I started spending more time doing coding and automation because I got very quick when it came to asset integration, but I found, I'm really doing the same thing 50, 60 times in a day. Why would I bother doing that? Obviously, I can make mistakes. I can make errors. A program's not going to. Code's not going to. So I started getting really good at actions in photos.
And
then after that, that's the breaking block for all artists.
Yeah.
Right? And then after that, I started getting more into coding. Actually pride myself on being very good at any of the extend script, which is all of the Adobe Suite minus JSFL, just Flash, which hopefully after Flash is now dead. If you didn't know, Flash Pro is dead.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone, but they brought it back. It's going to be now Adobe Animate. Creative name.
That's how you hide it.
For sure, and sell to Apple.
Yeah, well, yeah. Apple's like, we win. But that's exactly how I got into it. Is starting off as an artist. I spent a number of years mostly doing prop and things like that, and some character, and then just realizing the need to be in the middle of it. I hate to steal a quote from Robots, but I see a need, I fill a need.
There you go.
That's what a tech artist is I can do the art, I can help out with the code, I can talk back end, I can talk front end, but the biggest thing is just being able to talk, just being able to communicate and listen.
That's cool. What are some of the projects you've worked on in the past, and what was the most exciting one?
The most exciting one, the most interesting one for sure. I don't know if it's nearly as exciting for everybody else.
Yeah, you can have a couple examples. We're here. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the most exciting one that I did was actually a project for Dave & Buster's where it actually used I actually ended up using the Kinect to do full body recognition and facial recognition. So you had 3 different characters that you walked up to. One of them was a big ogre, another one's a siren, and then another one is a jester. And you'd actually walk up to this camera with a huge screen television, and it would mimic everything that you did. Hand, face, finger. Yeah, it was phenomenal. So that one was just a blast because I got to implement every bit of it. Obviously, since it's such a small turnaround, I built the pipelines, I built the tools, I built the toys.
Cool. Is it still in any Dave & Buster's right now?
I think it's in the Hollywood one right now.
Oh, cool.
They might have pulled it. Obviously, it's just a bizarre one. It's called Magic Mirror. And then I would say I really enjoyed working on a different game. I was up in Victoria, Canada, which is over on Vancouver Island, and we worked on
beautiful
a game.
City.
Oh, you've been there, have you?
From Washington.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And the game was called Slingo, and it wasn't necessarily so interesting when it came down to the subject matter because it's a cross between slot machines and bingo. The thing that was very interesting is that we took a game that was completely run. It was running like almost to death on a Flash. On Flash in a web browser, and we were actually able to make it on mobile devices, and it worked all the way down to the iPod Touch 4. So that was just crazy. And the piece de resistance is I worked on a 5 megabyte game that worked on the Samsung Galaxy S2 for Disney. It was a Cars hotshot racing game, and we actually pulled in technology that was like I didn't even know about. I mean, obviously you're a little bit older there, John. Maybe you as well, Ted. But you know, I was actually working on palette swapping. I worked on web color. I went through and optimized all the way down to bits and bytes. We're literally sitting there, and Art got 3.5 megs of the compressed version, and so I learned the ins and outs of compressing art and textures. I'm talking about compressing as in the initial compression, and then compressing as in doing it in like LZMA and doing it in post-compression, figuring out how to get it down to the smallest footprint at the same time of
playing
actually
Tetris with code.
Tetris with code. It's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane. It was insane. At one point, that game. We had optimized it so much for package size and RAM that we were running the CPU so hard it would drain battery faster than you could keep it charged in the wall outlet.
You plug it in, you still see the battery going down. You're like, come on, this isn't supposed to happen.
Exactly right. Like, wow. I've never seen that before.
Wow.
That's awesome. And a side note, Dave & Buster's best business idea ever. Let's let people drink and have them play video games and put money on these cards so it doesn't seem like real money. That's genius.
Well, dude, now there's a huge resurgence of barcades now. Like that's like the thing now. They're all over LA and Southern California. There's bars with like old school arcade cabinets all in them. Like there's just 21 and up.
I want to go up to in New Hampshire. There's an arcade it's like a normal arcade, but it's got a couple floors. But I've heard of the very top floor, it's got all just old school, 80s and 90s games, and that you just play them all for free. You pay once to get in.
No, you do that in Pasadena.
No, that's what they do that. That's what I'm saying. They have there's barcades like in San Diego. There's a place like there's a bunch of them. Like there's a bunch here in LA where you just literally you go in and it's just a old looking dive bar, but all on the edge of the walls there's Mortal Kombat, there's Street Fighter, there's super off-road, there's like Pac-Man, there's all around the edges. I mean, there's like 10, 15 pinball machines, and you just go up and you just wait your turn and just play, and they're all around. Yeah.
Back in my bachelor pad days, I had the X-Men, the 4-player game in my living room.
Oh, nice. The cabinet?
Seriously? Yeah.
What? How? That's awesome.
Dude?
I found a pizza place that was selling it for like $700, and I bought it.
Nice. Whatever happened to it?
I ended up there's something needed to be replaced.
The boards they're so hard to maintain.
Well, it was one of the chips. It was like one of the chips. It was considered replaced. It was just a pain to try and find someone to fix it or whatever.
Yeah, it cost like $200 for that.
Yeah, I ended up selling it for a couple $100 and just got rid of it.
Nice. But that's worth a couple $100 to play for a couple of years.
Oh yeah, we would just everyone would just play for free and have all 4 friends playing on it at once. It was pretty awesome.
Heck yeah, that's rad.
But yeah, I know there's a ton of places like around the country that I think there's a place in Chicago that's called like 1984.
Yep,
it's the same thing. Like you just pay once to get in, and everything then is free to play. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the barcade is like thing, and actually there's a really awesome place. Like, what's the name called? Something Coin or so. It's in Vegas, in Old Town Vegas, and it's got like think of like a nightclub where you can get like VIP booths on the side and stuff like that, right? Well, you go in, there's like a big bar like in the middle, like a big oval, like maybe a rectangular bar in the middle, and so the outskirts is like the VIP tables, right? So it's like a big horseshoe. Well, the outside VIP tables each have their own 50-inch TV, and you can rent whatever console you want from. So you just pay like $100 for the night, and you get that spot, and they'll give you 4 controllers. You can be N64, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4. You can get like Nintendo, Commodores, Ataris, whatever you want, and you just sit there and you just order your drinks at the table, and you and your friends can sit there at the table and play. Or at the bar, actually, so like around that big horseshoe bar, think of like a sports bar. There's like 10 TVs and lining them around the top above the bar.
Yeah.
You can just say, hey, go get a drink and ask the bartender, can I play on TV3? And like have a stool in front of TV3, and you and your buddy can like play Street Fighter up there. So I played Street Fighter. I played Street Fighter 4 with my buddy at the bar. Like we were just sitting there playing. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love that place.
That's cool.
And it's free too.
I'd get beat up on bad. I wouldn't be able to hear anything in there. So.
Oh yeah, it's pretty loud and crazy in there, but yeah, I think they have headphones, so you can throw on a couple of headphones. Okay. We can get down on some Game Day 98, John.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah,
with playing, especially something like Street Fighter, and obviously not being able to see, like how.
It all comes down to timing and just kind of, I mean, you know, obviously it's a little bit of guesswork and kind of getting a feel or a flow of how the fight's going, and you'll just know when, okay, now I'm going to do my special kicks, and you know, or now I always use like Ryu for Street Fighter, so you know, now's a good time to shoot that, you know, flaming ball or whatever it is. So you just get a feel for it. Like one of my younger kids, like I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, I was like, we got Street Fighter 2 on the Xbox, and I was like, this is my game back in the day, and my son was like, you can't still play this, Dad, you can't see. He's 6. So I'm always messing with him, like, dude, just because I can't see doesn't mean I can't play. I was like, I'll still beat you. And he's like, you can't beat me, you can't see. And I was like, all right, here we go. So we played the game, and I just mopped the floor with him, and he was like, how did you do that? He was like blown away. You know?
Awesome.
But yeah, I guess swinging back around to you though, Tim, is what are you currently working on with you know, technical art stuff like?
So I'm actually doing 2 separate projects right now. One project I'm working on Real Sense technology. It is a game called Wild Blue Yonder, which is a comic book adaptation. But it's super cool because we're running the parallax based off of your facial location, and I've done a lot of work to make sure that it doesn't get a tilt shift kind of feeling, because when you start actually going in and going out, if you did a linear curve, it would end up causing it to where it looks like all the stuff in the center is really tiny and all the stuff in the front is like super
spread out
in the back.
Right, yeah.
So it's spread out. Yeah. So we've done a lot of work to make sure that happens, and as well when you're tilting your head right and left, and you know, we're doing some cool stuff, and I'll leave some of the stuff for when it actually launches. But we're doing some stuff with heart rate and with voice recognition, and also facial recognition. So I'll leave that one for when it actually launches. I don't want to give up all of Noble Transmission's lovely hidden features.
Right.
And then the number 2 thing I'm working on is I'm a senior product manager at Gaff Media, which they do conversion software from Flash over to a myriad of different forms. Of course, Unity being their major platform that they're working. So.
Dude, that's genius. Yeah, since you have your experience with Flash and the other, so yeah, port it over, get it's gone. Hey, smart. Wow,
that's cool. And with porting stuff over like that, do you see more people leveraging HTML5 at all?
You know, I mean, that's a big thing that people are trying to do and trying to move over to, but I still haven't seen a lot on HTML5. It's just not really there yet.
Yeah, I saw one website now. You can play. Of course, I'm gonna forget what it's called now. It's not Unreal. It's like one of the first person shooters that kind of come out.
Wolfenstein?
No, not Wolfenstein.
Doom.
Maybe it was Doom. I'm not gonna remember now. It wasn't Unreal, but it was kind of around that time of Unreal.
Quake.
Thank you. That was it. Quake. There's a HTML5 web version of Quake you can play online. The full blown game.
Oh, solid.
Yeah. So
in HTML5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Just runs right in the browser, and you can play it. So that's pretty cool. It'd be cooler to see more games coming out like that, because then, you know, as a developer, I'm thinking as a developer, like, hey, it'd be cool to just basically have a web page, any tablet, any computer, any cell phone, any whatever would be able to go to it and play the game. Then you don't need to worry about, I need to make it compatible with, you know, these 20,000 Android devices, or, you know, these 6 versions of Apple iPhones now, or, you know, worrying about every other version of every, you know, Xbox One, PS4. So instead of worrying about all that stuff, you just design it for this one platform, and everything. Well, not that Xbox One or PlayStation 4 can utilize HTML5, but, you know.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's again. I love the idea of that porting across there, bringing it from the Flash over.
Awesome.
That's great. Have you again like the HTML5? Is that a realm that you think a lot of people should go towards as HTML5 now develops and becomes more mainstream?
No question. Okay. I think HTML5 is definitely going to be the future, and it's just people have got to get good with it. Just like you were talking about consoles.
Yeah.
As the consoles come out, people start learning what their weaknesses and their strengths are. We got to start figuring out as a community what exactly HTML5 is. What is it capable of? Where does it break? As soon as we figure out where to hide the magic and all the sparkles, man, we'll be fine.
Can you, without giving away any secret sauce, I'm interested to know, how does it tell your heart rate? You mentioned the first project. You said
it actually has a thermal sensor, and as well it can detect micro vibrations on your skin. So it knows where these are hot, and then it does a little depth sensor. So as it sees a slight depth change where these places are warm, it knows that your heart rate is
That's a pulse, right? Oh, so and this is done with a camera. Is it not done with the suit or anything?
You got it. No, it's a total camera.
Wow.
Since this is through Intel.
Right.
Intel,
of course.
has given tons and tons of money out to developers to build on their new platform like they do every single time they put out something, and they're awesome. If you ever get a chance to do an Intel project, they go, okay, here you go, and just like run with it.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah, a friend of mine actually develops the processors for Intel here in Massachusetts. He's like one of 1,000 people that do that. It's pretty cool. Like, talk to him.
That's pretty awesome. Hey, John, I hope you don't mind if I step on your toes a little bit, but I kind of want to know what your gaming background is, Tim, like as a gamer. Like, I guess John will ask the follow-up questions, but I just kind of want to know like what you started playing and when you started playing.
Sure, I can honestly say the first video game I remember playing was something my dad coded on the Amiga.
Oh wow!
And, yeah.
Oh yeah, Amiga in the house.
Oh yeah. That was something I remember. He said I was getting too good at the math games that he built. I don't remember before that, and then so he recoded it, made it harder, and did a whole bunch of stuff for it. And then I remember after that playing some weird stuff with my grandpa. But the biggest one that I remember that had the most influence on me was Wolfenstein.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sitting there, and I was the person who hit the fire button, and my dad was the one who moved us around.
Here's a funny aside, no joke. The boss of the week, which I'm alluding to, that you know about, it almost was Mecha Hitler this week. So no joke. I had that. It was a three-way between the current boss, who we'll reveal in a little bit, Mecha Hitler, and Neo Cortex from Crash Bandicoot. So.
Oh man, with the
missing the fish shape.
Say it again.
Sorry, I said you're missing the fish shape.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, with the math game, Tim, was your dad throwing some discrete math in there? Were you getting too good at that?
Of course, and linear algebra, and then after that, dot product. I mean, dear God.
Yeah,
exactly. No, that's cool. Now, was there a game when you were, like Wolfenstein or something, like, was there something where just like, I want to be involved with making these? Like, what sort of brought you to that? You saying, I want to be in the video game world and develop them or be part of them in some way, shape, or form?
Well, I can definitely say it would probably be BioShock.
Oh, nice.
That was one of the things that came out when I was in college. Originally, I was more focused towards movies, and the thing that got me towards wanting to be in movies was Pixar, of course, Bug's Life, and then of course first Toy Story. I remember my mom got me that video on VHS, and I watched it.
Burned it out, man.
I burned it out before we went back to school.
Yep.
Wow.
That was insane.
I love it.
I remember watching it frame for frame. But as far as BioShock goes, it really was a game changer. It showed that first-person shooters don't have to be formulaic. We can have stories, and we can have, it's not just like a 5-second clip of Yes, and just
hey man, good job.
Pick up this gun. Yeah, exactly.
So your console or whatever lifestyle went. So you messed with the Amiga, and obviously you're an Xbox guy if you played BioShock or you had Xbox. So what came after the Amiga, and where did you go? What was your route up to?
Oh yeah, okay. So I was Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and then I switched over to PlayStation.
Nice.
And then I ran up that route. So I was a PlayStation guy for a really long time, and then I picked up Xbox when it came over to the last next gen consoles.
Right.
So
you went PlayStation 1 to Xbox 360.
PlayStation 1, 2, and then I ended up picking up Xbox, and then Xbox 360. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was the way we were going. I mean, everybody had a Nintendo back in the day.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't have a Nintendo, you weren't playing games. So
for sure.
And then Super Nintendo as well. But yeah, no, I wasn't a Sega kid.
I was a Sega kid. I went regular Nintendo, then I went Sega, then PlayStation, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Xbox. Friends had Xboxes, so
yeah.
But interesting. That's cool. Okay, so yeah. Sorry, John. I was just interested to see. It's always interesting, like the console route of people.
Yeah, yeah. I went. My first, I guess, not that you call it a console. I had my Commodore first before anything, and then I got a Nintendo. Then I got the Genesis. I got the Genesis. I got the TurboGrafx 16.
Oh yeah.
And then I got my car accident. So then after that, I ended up playing PlayStation 1 is when I kind of got back into gaming, and I bought an Xbox, and then I bought my kids a 360 and a Wii U.
Nice. So yeah, so sorry about to step on your toes there, John, but yeah, going back on, so you said you were in the movies there, Tim. Yeah, so and then BioShock kind of got you into games, right?
Yep.
And what aspect when you first felt that kind of pull towards games that made you really like it? Obviously, you're a technical artist, but was that like the first thing you wanted to go to? Was the art side, or the story? Did the story grab you?
No, it was definitely art side. I always find it interesting to work within constraints. It's that both side of things, and then art, especially at that time, through PlayStation 3 and through 360 when it came out, it really changed the face of how we were doing art. I mean, you remember it started almost coming as a convergence. You started watching movies and started watching video games, and you're like, there's not really that much of a divergence at that point. So it just became really interesting for me to go in, and then of course to be a part of basically what was a movie that you could play little sections of, and that's just super cool to me.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Yeah, I know it's amazing when I watch my son play some games now. It's like the sound quality and stuff of these games. I'm like, man, if I didn't know better, I would think this is some sort of like movie or animated movie. Like it's crazy.
Totally. Yeah, like Uncharted series, which I love. It's just you're playing movies. You're playing Indiana Jones. Like it's what you're doing. It's yeah, like Last of Us, or even any of these big RPGs, they're just total immersive stories, and that's what I like about. I love cinematic games that are like make you feel like you're playing a movie, or I'll play a game like it's a movie, if that makes any sense. Like when I play Fallout, like I'm going through it, like I'm not just doing some weird like, oh, let me just kind of mine a bunch of leaves and put them into my little. But I play it like I'm like living it. Like they would watch it. I enjoy that experience, and the whole cinematic experience. So
he even has one of those jumpsuits. He sits in there, and he doesn't eat a lot, and it's really
exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. So I guess the last thing I'd want to ask you is like, as far as like in the industry, you mentioned BioShock, but what like now currently like inspires you with games, people, experiences? What are the things that kind of push you to keep doing new things in the industry? What do you love about the gaming industry right now?
Well, I mean, as far as games and storylines and things like that go, obviously a lot of the larger games that are coming out are really interesting, but I'm not seeing a lot of diversity when it comes along them. Obviously, like Star Citizen, but you're mostly watching the clone stuff. So the stuff that's really interesting to me are the almost non-game games. You're talking about like Adventure Capitalist.
I heard about that, and like Her Story and all those kind of things.
Yeah, exactly. Or there's another one that's like they have a bunch of sub-defense games that have come out where it's you have to go ahead and you can run time forwards and backwards, and that's called Subterfuge.
I heard about that. Mm-hmm.
And so those games really interest me once again because of the storyline aspect, or just the why is Adventure Capitalist like so addictive? I don't understand. I'm literally clicking to upgrade something that is just getting me more money, and then you can play in different worlds and everything like that. But so when it comes to that aspect, it really becomes very interesting to me, especially when you're talking about the indie community. You have a game that probably took him or her, the team, something like, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months to build, and they have a massive, massive fan base on what is basically just a standard click game. It just boggles my mind on how that can happen and how that can become so addictive. I guess it probably goes under the same wire slot machine so addictive. It's the same.
Yeah. We always talk about that. The carrot on the stick. Give me a gold star. We did last week. Our topic of the week was gamification. So there you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that loyalty programs, they got you.
They do.
That's pretty awesome. John, you got anything else for Tim?
I don't.
Right on. Well, Tim, thank you. We really appreciate that insight. Go ahead and do a quick shameless plug of yourself, though. Where can people find your work or get a hold of you? Your website, stuff like that. What do you got?
Sure. Okay. So for my shameless plug of the day, my website is www.timcoolmode.com, and that's COOLMODE. And you can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. If you look for Tim Cool Mode, you're gonna find me.
Nice.
That's
good job, SEO.
Yeah.
And like I said, I do everything from optimization to liaison work to scripting to everything in between. And I'm looking for more contracts if anybody's looking for a little bit of help.
Cool. Well, excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's great. We'll definitely talk this evening for sure, and then in the future about some stuff. But we appreciate it. But as always, at the end of every interview segment comes a little thing we like to call the boss battle.
I'm dreading this. I've listened to a couple of these, and yeah.
Yeah, they're not easy, but they're fun. So yeah, I know John's ready for the boss battle. He really enjoys it. But see, you know what? John is basically like your companion in any game, any open world game. So like you can like dump all your stuff on him, but he'll help you support through it. So I'll give you a quick rundown. Do you know who the boss of the week is?
I do, because you've told me, but I will let you announce.
No, that's okay. I'm asking. Do you know, right?
I know of the Dracula.
It is Dracula from Castlevania. Oh, yes. You know, the immortal, evil, blood-sucking, insanely strong, lightning fast, allergic to sun, garlic-hating, vitamin D deficient, bat-morphing, demonic freak. Yeah, that guy.
Oh.
Yeah, so let me give you a rundown of how the boss battle works. So our questions or levels are from us, or they're user-sourced. So you can send in a question to us using the hashtag bossbattle on our social media. Or you can email us to the email at jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com with the subject line Boss Battle. So how it works, Tim, there are 5 total levels, 4 normal levels of increasing difficulty, and 1 final boss encounter. Okay?
All right.
The first 4 levels, you get 60 seconds. And then we'll go over those to see how your answers did. And then you have the boss encounter is 30 seconds, the final boss. You can warp between any levels, essentially like a pass. If you don't know a question, and time permitting, you can return back. Does that make sense?
All right.
You get 1 power-up for the first 4 levels, which makes any question 50-50. After we review the first 4 levels, if you get 4 out of 4, you get a power-up for the boss. So it behooves you to get 4 out of 4 on the first 4 to make that boss battle a little bit easier, that final encounter. Okay?
All right.
And simply that. And if you get 5 out of 5, you are in our Hall of Champions. And, yeah, we haven't had anyone reach that yet. So hopefully you're the first, right?
I can hope.
Well, statistics have gone through, we've had a success rate of about 20% on the boss battle, and those 20%, the underlying factor is that they were all named Ed. So, is your name Ed?
No, there's not even Ed in my name.
Okay. So, John, yeah,
good.
Yeah, not looking good already. You're already in the hole. So, but, yeah, no worries. But any questions beforehand?
No.
And like I said, John is your companion. He will, remind you that you have a power up, and you probably want to save it until the later questions because they increase in difficulty. But yeah, John will keep you on point with the power up. All right.
All right.
Alrighty. So, Tim, your showdown with Dracula in the early levels starts when I finish reading the first question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Level 1. What does a blue shell target in the Mario Kart series? Is it A, the cart in front of the player, B, the cart in first place, C, the cart behind the player, or D, the closest cart to the player?
B.
B. Final answer?
Yes.
Level 2. What does Dota stand for? A, Death of the Ancestors, B, Deviant of the Acolytes, C, Dominant on Total Annihilation, or D, Defense of the Agents?
Let's go with B. Final answer.
Final answer. Level 3. What is the highest grossing video game adaptation film of all time?
I'm going to go with the 50-50.
It is either Lara Croft Tomb Raider or Resident Evil.
I'm going to go with Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Final answer?
Yes.
Level 4. What was the first arcade game to be commercially produced? That's the keyword, commercially produced.
Pac-Man.
Final answer?
Final answer.
And time. I like the deliverance in your answers there, sir. Wow, that was pretty good, John. What do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It was very straightforward.
I'm right, though.
It's okay, but you didn't waver. You just, you made the decision and went with it. I think that's the technical part coming through. Nice. I mean, yeah, I like it. So, shall we see how you did? All right, let's go back. Level 1. The question was, what does a blue shell target in the Mario Kart series? The selections you could have chosen from were the cart in front of the player, the cart in first place, the cart behind the player, and the closest cart to the player. And the answer you chose was B, and that is correct. Of course, that is the cart in first place. No one wants to see a blue shell when you're winning a race, right? Everyone wants to see the blue shell up in your inventory. That's a fun thing to see. So, good job. Nice. 1 for 1. Looking good. So, question number 2, level 2. What does Dota stand for? So, Dota, the popular MOBA game. The choices were A, Death of the Ancestors, B, Deviant of the Acolytes, C, Dominate on Total Annihilation, or D, Defense of the Agents. Your choice was B, correct?
Yeah.
The answer was D, Defense of the Ancients. Ooh. Ouch. Yeah, coming back from the Warcraft 2 mod back in the day, so Dota and Dota 2. I'm a Dota 2 player. I haven't played in a little while, but I enjoy that game, unfortunately. Yeah, so, oof. Okay, so no power up for the boss, but that's okay. Let's see how you did on the last 2 questions and level 3. So, level 3 was, what is the highest grossing video game film adaptation of all time? You used the power up here. And your choices were Lara Croft Tomb Raider or Resident Evil. And you chose Tomb Raider, correct?
Yes.
Tomb Raider is the right answer. Good job. Nice job. It grossed, I think, $138 million.
Really?
Yeah, wow. That's in profit. So it pulled in 246 million or something like that. It only cost 90 to make, so 98 to make. So good job. Nice.
So we could have made a movie with Star Citizen's Kickstarter. Is that what we're saying here?
Basically, you definitely could have made it. You could have made a large, big budget, blockbuster film with that money. Yeah, it's crazy. So, good job. Yes. Okay, 2 for 3, not too bad. And level 4 was, what was the first arcade game to be commercially produced? Your answer was Pac-Man.
Yep.
The answer is actually it's Computer Space in 1971.
Nope.
Yeah, that's incorrect. But the the first commercially successful game was actually Pong in 1972. Yeah. So Computer Space came out right before Pong to be commercially sold, but Pong was the first one that was like, well, people like this and bought it up. So, ooh.
That's right. I should remember that. And, they were saying that they had to go in and clean it out because they thought it was broken.
Mm-hmm. All right, so 2 for 4. Ooh, not horrible, but you're definitely down to Half-Life, and you're hobbling in, and you need a couple potions.
Sun's going down.
Yeah, sun's going down. Uh-oh, Dracula's coming out.
Yep.
Man, but now all that stands in your way of winning this conversation is Dracula himself. Are you ready for the boss encounter, Tim?
I am.
So as you know, the boss encounters are loosely based on science and real life, so we'll see what happens and see what Dracula has in store for you. So your boss encounter starts when I finish reading the entire question. Are you ready?
I am.
John, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Dracula is the main antagonist in the Castlevania series and is an extremely powerful vampire. He is known for his ability to conjure fire and take control over animals and also change himself into a bat. All this being said, he still remains an affluent mindset and a lord, as well as the vampiric traits for bloodlust. As a lord with status and wealth, Dracula has a refined palate in his taste for blood. Of the 8 variations of human blood type, what is the rarest in the United States and therefore considered a delicacy?
It's AB negative.
Is that your final answer?
It is.
And time. Okay. Let's break this down. Let's go over blood type real quick. I'm a science guy, right? What are the blood types? We all know this. So we have O, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have B, we have A, and AB, right? Do you know what the negative and positives are, right? The RH factors? That's the presence or absence of the antibodies on the cells, right? So what is the most common blood type in the United States?
Isn't it O positive?
Yes, actually I am O positive. So yes, it is O positive. And the universal donor is O negative, right? It's just no antibodies, no nothing. They can give to anybody, right?
Yep.
And you said your answer was the rarest is AB negative.
Yes.
Well, I can tell you that AB negative is the right answer. You have beaten the boss this week. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Wow. Everyone give him a hand. Dracula is disintegrating right now. You put a UV light right on his face.
Man.
Holy cow. That is awesome. We have a new winner.
Some garlic in his face.
You are staking him with right through the heart. Excellent job. Give yourself a hand. Congratulations, Tim. Excellent. That's hip hip hooray. Awesome. You didn't get 5 out of 5, so you are still going with home with absolutely nothing. But that's okay. You have the status that you beat the boss. That's awesome.
Man.
Awesome. So, where's your background on that? How did you know that so easy? That's very good.
Yeah, he just right away.
Oh, I happen to know my mom has AB negative.
Well, there you go. See, fantastic. So, you know what? It's perfect. It lined up perfectly. Dracula met his match. So, wow, that's awesome. I love to see it go down. So we have another boss gone down. So fantastic.
And it's not all by Eds.
It's not all by Eds. We have to raise that stat. And good job.
66%.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, well, we're gonna take a quick break, and after that triumphant defeat of the boss of the week, we can go into emails and get out of here. So we're gonna take a quick break. Hey guys, I'm still coming down from that epic defeat of Dracula. Fantastic, Tim. Impressive. Again, you held through the entire boss battle with the same confidence and poise and directness, even through the final encounter, which was very awesome to see. Good job. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Thank you.
So, I think it's time now for the topic of the week. And every episode we have a topic of the week coming from our guests on the show, and I think you have a pretty awesome topic for us to talk about. So without further ado, Tim, take it away. What do you got for us?
Yeah, sure. I'm going towards non-traditional game controllers.
Ooh, interesting. So yeah, go ahead and unpack that for us. What do you got?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to go ahead and look all the way back, what we consider as a traditional game controller really didn't come out into Famicom. But before that, people started doing things that were, either radio stats moving left and right. You're talking about things like Pong and things like that. And then, of course, you have light guns, and you have things nowadays like the Kinect and everything in between.
Touchpad, joysticks, everything, yeah.
Joysticks, everything, yeah, stuff like that. Of course, Sony's got their magic wand, whatever that thing.
The Wii remotes.
And the Wii remotes, definitely. If you didn't know, actually, Sega produced the very first Kinect-like system. It was called...
I didn't know.
The Sega, and I actually have the name of it here. It is the Sega Activator.
Really?
Yeah, it is a full-body motion-sensing control. It was released in 1993, which puts it more than a decade ahead of the Kinect.
Wow. Did it use a camera and everything, or what did it use?
It actually used infrared technology.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It had infrared lasers that went straight up. The problem that it had is it couldn't understand if somebody was doing more than one beam, breaking it at a time.
Oh,
so
right.
It was a commercial failure.
Yeah, so if you had your TV remote and push buttons in front of it, it would mess it up, I'm sure.
I would expect.
Huh, interesting. That's cool. So that's a little precursor to the Kinect technology. And so, again, that motion control stuff was even back then, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So what about non-traditional control stuff are you really interested in? What have you seen in the industry and where we're going with it that you want to kind of bring up and talk about? Because I think it's a really cool topic. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that.
No, I mean, you have to look at what's happening with VR and AR. I mean, we're going to have to come up with a non-traditional control scheme. Whether it's going to be body movement, it's going to be something obviously like the Kinect, or if it's going to be something more intelligent like what you're getting with AR stuff, where you can use facial movement, eye movement, things like that. Atari had played with this back in the 80s, where they came up with what's called the Mind Link, where it actually used facial movements and twitches in your eyebrows and eye bands and things like that to be able to do that. I mean, obviously that's, just a precursor and idea, but, we're going to have to, as a species, move past, using just our thumbs to play video games. Mm-hmm. It's just, if I went ahead and I gave this to somebody who's never seen a video game before, they wouldn't know how to play. But if I gave them something like the Kinect, they're going to move into it immediately because it's like what
right.
It's intuitive. So, I mean, that's what I see. Obviously, now Magically has come out with some really cool stuff and their system based off of their specs because they haven't really shown too much. Mm-hmm. It's really going to revolutionize. And then, of course, Sony's newest system that's come out with the VR and AR stuff is really going to move things forward. I really most want to see what's coming out for Microsoft in the HoloLens project.
Yeah.
Because I think that right there is going to be what catapults things into the future, because they're giving money out left and right, just like they did with the Xbox, to go ahead and get VR and AR out there. And if anybody's got the money and the power and the clout to do it, it's Microsoft. So
right.
So that's where I'm going with that. Is I really think it's super interesting. It's really cool, and that we all need to work together and try to get that going ahead. So.
Yeah, the next step of control systems and control schemes is going to set the groundwork for the next generation. Because if you think back, you let me know the topic beforehand, so I kind of did some little looking on control schemes and histories. One of the things is you mentioned our thumbs and a typical Nintendo controller, the D-pad on the left and A, B, or BA on the right. That all happens. But in the early 2000s, like 2000, 2001, the big players with the DualShock, the double joystick controllers, and all the games in first-person shooter games, but they standardized controls across all games and systems, making movement left and look right and shoot top. They standardized control across the board, whatever games we're doing. So all the big budget games just said, okay, you know what? Our games are going to control all the same. And when they did that, they made the explosion of games a lot easier to happen. They made them more mainstream. They made it easier to pick up. And they created a standard set of controls, which we still use today. Like, you grab a controller, you got the 2 sticks, you know what to do with them, right? And so this next wave of control schemes that's necessary to happen, because you could, but I don't understand why you would in a VR experience or an AR experience grab a controller with your thumbs. But we're going to need something that out there that's new, that kind of standardizes it across the board. So no matter what of the 4 VR or the 2 or 3 new AR systems you grab, you're going to know how to use them. So we can find a new standard for that. And it's not like, hey, all get together and figure it out. But if somebody pioneers that new thing that it really works, that's very intuitive, works well, is comfortable, is reliable, and it's standardized across the board, that'll help VR and AR really explode and be mainstream, I think.
I don't know if it's not going to be the other way around. I think we need to stop doing standardized control schemes and build towards the people. So instead of, we go ahead and put your arm out right, everybody does that. Everybody, and that goes ahead and that shoots the gun or anything like that. I think we need to build it to where this is human body mechanics. I think we need to go back entirely to the drawing board and go, okay, when a person goes to shoot a gun, they pull their arms up like this. Everyone naturally pulls their arms up like this. So let's go ahead and build our control schemes around what people do.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm saying because again, with the VR experience and AR experience, you're experiencing as a person or experiencing as a thing.
Yeah.
You're not playing a game like with the controllers, like flying a plane with your fingers or thumbs. That's what the control schemes work. But I'm saying in an AR, so if I'm playing an AR shooter or a VR shooter, I'm going to know that grabbing the gun like this is going to do this. So no matter what system, Oculus, PSVR, if I do that on either system, it works that way. That's how it is. That's the feel of it. Or if I'm going to be climbing a ladder in a VR experience, I want to know that if I do this motion, it works across all platforms. So standardized human movement through things that are intuitive, that don't just require you just to take a controller and move up and down, will be very, very awesome. So it's just like, okay, these are your base, 15 things you can do in every VR experience that you just are intuitive to being a human, which I think would be cool to have. So you could naturally know. So, I know that if I reach my hand out, my hand will show up in the screen and I can grab something with it, right? So it's just that works across the board. And that would open it up, because if you just have a VR experience where it's like, okay, grab this Move controller and this one in this hand, and then wave it, shake it, waggle it right, and move your head while you waggle, that's how you play this game. Well, that's weird and tough to do. And someone who's never done any video games and jumps into VR is like, wait, what? But if there's a standardized, like you said, based on the human intuition, how to be a person, and how to move your body, I think that's a cool step.
Yeah, I definitely would think that we would reach a pinnacle whenever we could take this to people who've never even seen electricity, never seen electronics in their entire life.
Right.
Set them up, put them in it, and then get them going. If we can get people like that instantly to figure out what's going on, then we've built good controllers, good systems, and we're moving towards some really awesome stuff.
Right. Well, John, I'm going to ask you, someone who, again, you're obviously, the sight is not the issue, but an intuitive way to move and control a body is I think, even more important for someone like you. What would you like to see for some control schemes like that?
I think this is a chance for accessibility to be taken into consideration, because it's still the Wild West. I think of there's a website called Able Gamers, and they focus on people with various types of disabilities playing video games, whether it be, like quadriplegics or paraplegics, or people with only use of one good hand, or people with low vision, or, all types of things like that. I think this realm is ripe for the picking for accessibility taken into consideration to make games easier to play for literally everyone now. Because, with all these controller-based stuff, if you only have, use of one hand, it's really hard. If you gotta, move this controller, push this button with one hand, and someone, and no one building the hardware wants to bother with it because they're gonna, they're wrong, but they think, oh, there's not a big enough market, it's not worth us wasting our time building this special controller for these people with disabilities. Like, just let them get along however they've been getting along for this long, But with body movement and stuff, like for me, again, I'm sort of, I always call myself kind of the outlier because I could see for 14 years, I've seen how people move their bodies and legs and arms and hands and fingers, and so I have a better grasp of that than someone that was born blind. So, but I think really the use of or not the use of certain limbs or most of your body, I think, is really intriguing with AR and VR, because then it'll bring video games to a whole nother level for these people.
Yeah, I definitely think that's an interesting way to go about it. As far as the work that you do as a technical artist, Tim, like what are you thinking as far as some next steps that are necessarily need to be in place for this type of stuff?
Oh man, so there's really not a lot in there as far as hardware and architecture. I think the thing that we have to get is either multiple camera systems, or we have to build almost like a non-suit suit. So think of like a head halo that goes ahead and has like 50 cameras or something like that. I think that would be like the next step. Obviously, being able to get past that point and moving past that is going to be a difficult arrangement. But
how do you do that in a consumer's household, though? That's what I'm asking. Like in a
well, and so the only thing I could think is, if you have like 100 GoPro cams that basically sit up on top of your head, that could show where your arms, where your body is in relation to different mapped objects, and I think that would be the closest. It's obviously that's something almost remotely like what they're doing on the Oculus Rift, and what they're doing is they're feeding it backwards versus forwards. So I think that's kind of the closest thing that you could do, but right now there really isn't a lot other than they're using, gyroscope to figure out how fast you're moving and which direction you're going. But yeah.
Do you think that the traditional control scheme, a controller, should go away?
Yes. No question.
Completely?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. I think there are certain experiences that you can get with the controller. But for a VR experience, I wouldn't mind having nothing in my hands. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
As far as like if I want to sit down and play a game, so how am I going to play Halo 9 that's not in VR?
It's always going to be in VR.
See that's a whole nother. Yeah, there's the can of worms. There, VR is the evolution of consoles for sure.
The thing is, when you can either watch a movie or be in a movie, which one would you be? I think maybe a generation's going to have a harder time accepting the movement, but remember, we were the first people to pick up controllers and teach our dads how to play, and teach our family exactly what it was about. So that's the big thing, is we're looking at it from a what's today perspective instead of what's the next generation of people.
But I'm also looking at it as, because my degrees are in biochemistry and genetics, and so I know a lot about that type of stuff. And there are some people, and it's a large portion. I would say at this point it's 50%, but we'll figure it out once we dial it down. Who cannot handle VR? Who just cannot handle it? They get sick. They just motion. It's just vertigo. They can't handle it. So to me, VR as the future of all games is not a feasible concept.
No, I agree. I definitely think it's AR.
Yeah, there it is. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking AR is the next step. I think AR is going to be the thing for a lot of things. But for me, I think AR, you can still use a control scheme because you can still see your hands and you can still see the controller. You can still see whatever you're looking at, But I think like a nice simple pair of like HoloLens glasses on there, and I may be able just to jog around and move around and play a game, but just being intuitive, that would be pretty awesome. Yeah. I think I agree. If I could play video games without a controller and it was just whatever I wanted it to do, that would be the ultimate experience. So like, I just trying to think in the consumer household, how do we get 50 GoPro cameras around so I can play this game on an affordable basis? How does that work? And I think that's the problem we're facing right now. It's like, how do we get this? Because we have this technology. There are so many. Again, I've worked in sports for years, and I can do biomechanical analyses on an athlete down to like the millimeter of how they move if I put them in the right room with the infrared cameras we have set up. I mean, it's pretty amazing what they can do now, right? But it's on a consumer basis. How do you get in the home for a novelty item, for a fun thing?
That's difficult. I mean, obviously, the entertainment world's going to build on that. We started with the Oculus. We started with all these terrible different VR things that are coming out. Obviously, Oculus is better than anything we had. If you
the Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy, you beat me to it. Oh God, that was a commercial flop, wasn't it?
Oh, red eyes dying. Ouch.
Well, most people actually closed one eye so they could play it for more than 5 minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, it's going to come out of the entertainment industry and it's going to feed back into itself. I can honestly tell you, a friend sent me a post yesterday where a company, and I'm not kidding. This is a company that does King carts. They do like the Super Cool or King Cool. They do all of these different stuff, but they're looking for VR, AR people. And the reason why they're doing this is they're trying to put stuff into people's hands. So once it's moved out of the entertainment industry and it's moved into the commercial space, man, that's going to feed right back in. That's exactly what we want technology to do, because they have 900 billion times more money than what the people have to spend on entertainment.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be interesting as we go forward. I think we've talked about AR and the future of consoles and VR and the experience versus the tool. And there's a lot of things, but people often forget, and I'm glad you brought it up, is how are we going to control it? How are we going to use it? How's the technology used? So yeah, we have these, this great VR set that makes it look so real, but how do you move and function in it? Like I have a 5x5 living room, small. How am I going to play this game that's I'm on like a 50 by 50 area that I have to walk around in? We got to figure out how to control it, how it works. It's most intuitive for people. So great topic, great things you brought up there. I'm glad you brought that up, because definitely put some wheels spinning in my head right now. I'm like, how do we get it in the hands? What is the next step? And not just thinking about it as here's a controller. From, like you said, from the now standpoint. Like, we've always had a controller. How do we move away from that?
Very true.
Awesome. Well, great. We appreciate that topic. How about some emails, guys? And get out of here. You guys have time for some emails? We got a lot sent in this week. A couple from last week. Sorry, people, from holding over. But let's see. The first one is from Mike from Maryland. This is we talked a little bit about in the news about the Sony and their first-party lack of, and this is the total opposite. It says, "Hey guys," and then the subject line was Nintendo and third-party games. He says, "What's the deal with Nintendo and their?" He says, "What's the deal? Will Nintendo get their act together?" As a resident business expert, Ted, what moves do you think Nintendo should make moving forward as far as third-party support? Mike. Mike. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts as well, but we know that Nintendo doesn't give a rat's ass about third party, right? And the thing is, their first party stuff is so darn strong that they can just lean on that audience. Yeah. But we've seen now what happens when they don't. They don't care about third parties, and it's called the Wii U. And so I think the next phase of Nintendo, from my business standpoint, is with NX, you better dang well open up the doors and make it easy for people to A, develop on your system, B, easy to work with them and make it a nice environment and make them want to develop with you, and C, make the hardware more powerful enough to be able to market and make good games for. So those are the three things I think Nintendo should do to get their, quote, act together with third parties, because I think we talked about it on an episode before about how there's only maybe 30 third-party games that came out on the Wii U compared to hundreds on the Wii and everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. In a 5-year life cycle, 4-year life cycle, only 30 games. Like, what? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, what do you think, Tim?
Wow, yeah. If I was a developer, I wouldn't touch Nintendo with a 10-foot pole.
They're not right now, especially the Wii U.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're so difficult to work with. They've been difficult to work with, since the beginning, and now since the Wii U came out, that, like you said, they're even worse. Yeah, if they don't get their act together, especially because obviously they've had some losses and some things have changed. They're gonna have to bump up their game and open it up to outside people to assist them with their stuff, and as well, just like you said, people are bending over backwards to even just attempt to make a game on their consoles because they're not even equal to the PS3 level at this point. And right. You're talking about these Xboxes, the new Xbox and the new PlayStation are basically a computer from a year and a half, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So come on, yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
I think Nintendo knows their customers so well. They just flat out don't care because they're just like the third party people aren't. They may or may not give our customers what they want, but we know what they want. So as long as we keep delivering it to them, who cares if someone else comes in and develops on the platform?
Right, and like I said, their first party games are so strong, and Nintendo is so crazy. They do the weirdest things, and I love them for that. But there's a point where you're gonna have to like open the doors a little bit and be like, okay, we still have our stuff. Our stuff takes precedent. But you know what? People like Call of Duty. Make a Call of Duty game on here. People like, these new series or the ability to have new IP. They don't just want Mario all the time or Zelda all the time, And so it's like the Nintendo, like people ate up Splatoon this year because it was a new IP. Like, oh my God, something new. It wasn't Mario or it wasn't Zelda. And that's a good thing. And so, like, getting third parties to come on is I think absolutely essential for them. Like, if they don't, then Nintendo's gonna have a rough time with the NX when it comes out. So, yeah, that's it, Mike. That's what we got. Here's a fun one. Hi, John and Ted, and I guess this is to you too, Tim. If you were a monster in a video game, which one would it be? And this is for Christina from Poway, California. John, who would you be? A monster in a video game?
Oof, man. Wow, that's tough. I'm trying to think of some monsters in games I played. I would be Tom Brady.
Yeah. Fantastic. Good answer. That's a terrible, disgusting, horrible monster. That's probably the worst one ever.
That's the worst one I could think of. So
pretty good. Good one. Tim, what do you got?
I'm going to go with a Boomer.
Boomer from?
Left 4 Dead.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I like that one, too. That's a good choice, too. So, all right. I would go probably maybe... Do ghosts count as monsters? Because that'd be the ghosts of Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Which one? Blinky?
Blinky, Dot?
I'd be... Who's the red one?
Blinky?
The red one's the one that's the pain in the ass that always chases you down. No, that's the pink one. The pink one's always the one that's all like that chases you the most. That's the annoying one. Yeah, I'd be that one. Well, whatever. I'd be one of the ghosts, the Pac-Man ghosts. So there you go. All right. We'll skip that one for next time. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, here's a good one. This is interesting. This is titled Jonathan and Theodore. That's to us, I guess, John. Some Chad in Orlando. He says, "Hey guys, my India studio likes the show, and we have some questions. John, you're very relaxed and comfortable with being blind. So there's a little grammatical error, but so what is cool? What is a cool thing or advantage? That's what he means that you think you have now that you didn't have before." And this is the second part of it. He says, "And Ted, how does yours and Don's dynamic differ than other people you deal with?" Ooh, so I'll let you answer first, John.
One cool thing about being, this honestly, there's a lot of cool things about being blind, but one cool thing is when you're sighted, no matter what you say, when you look at someone, you're always going to have some sort of judgment about them when you see them, whether it's the way they walk in, what they're wearing, what car they get out of, maybe the friends they're hanging out with. I can't do that. I can't do that until I actually talk to you and sort of get to know you. So, me being blind, I've probably spoken to plenty of people I normally would have talked to if I could see.
That's actually a cool thing to look at.
Yeah, so it's very cool. Like it's and I can't have any sort of presupposition until I actually talk to you. I obviously I can still make a judgment once I talk to you. Like,
well, then that's a good judgment then.
Yeah. I mean, like, maybe he or she doesn't seem that smart, or whatever. Maybe they're arrogant or whatever it is. But I can't make any sort of judgment until I actually talk to you. So that's pretty cool because, like I said, I probably have talked to many people that I normally, if I would have seen them, I would have just like avoided them or brushed them off, or you know what I'm saying. So that's one cool thing about being blind.
Yeah. What they asked for? What's an advantage? Do you think? Do you have any advantages of being blind? I think that would be an advantage, actually.
Yeah, that's an advantage, but I'd also say, I mean, I guess I can still get distracted in other ways, but I'm not distracted by, I don't know if you'd say the world, but I don't get caught up with shiny things. So I can stay a little more focused on maybe things that matter to me more than getting caught up in the hustle and bustle of life.
That's true, I guess. But if I jingle some keys over here, you're going to listen to those, though.
Yeah.
I'll answer the second part of the question. It says, how does our dynamic differ than other people? And I would say that it really doesn't. In the sense of, I think when John, you and I first started talking, like, you probably get this, correct me if I'm wrong, but when people first talk to you, a lot of times you get that, I guess that pity kind of thing, like, oh, you're blind? Oh, thing. And...
yeah,
and I'm not gonna say I had that when I first thought of it. But I really was like, oh, that's really cool. Then you get that, whoa, that's awesome reaction, right? Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's crazy, right? So then you get that part, and then once I obviously, I mean, I'm human, so you have those reactions. Once I got that done and that was done, I kind of almost, I mean, I totally forget that. I mean, I don't forget that you are blind or that it is, but I actually kind of expect the same things or more from you. It's like I'm just like, hey, we talk about the normal things, like nothing is different and at all. So I think our dynamic is actually probably better than a lot of people. Just the way we are. It's just because I don't think about that, and and like I said, like we do work together, and I don't even think twice. It's just like, oh yeah, Sean, that's what he does. So I would say that for sure.
Yeah, when we first started talking, like you actually, did your homework on me, like Googled me, and that's when, like the next day when we talked or whatever, yeah, hey, I don't know how to like say this or whatever, but you're blind, right? And I was like, yeah, I am.
Yep.
I never go out of my way to like, because not that I at all, and Ted can vouch for this, not that I'm ever at all looking for any sort of like pity party or any whatever. So I'm never like, oh, by the way, I'm blind.
It's the opposite, dude. You downplay it too much where I have to like be your like person in the partner is like, no, dude, you can tell him you're blind, man. Come on. Like.
So yeah, like Ted, like, just Googled me and was like, whoa, hey, wait a minute here.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it was. And like I said, I read about it and I was like, oh wow. And then we just kind of talked about it and you kind of explained everything. And now that I understand how it is with you, like we just roll with it. It's like, it's nothing. I think we had maybe a couple episodes back, we talked about seeing like the word see, like, oh, like, because you use it and stuff, like, oh, I saw this, or hey, did you see that? Like, yeah, I was watching the game, you still say that.
Right.
And it's like,
exactly.
And people are like, oh no, they get all weird about it, but I just say it because I know that's what you say, I just know how that is. So it's like, to me, it's, obviously, like, I think, remember that one time when I sent you the emoji on the text? And it's because I was using auto speak on my phone, and it just said smiley face, and it sent like a actual little smile, and you're like, dude, I'm blind, I can't see this. I'm like, oh yeah, I know, my phone did it. So I thought that was kind of funny, but
it doesn't go colon parentheses for you.
No, it actually used to, but now the screen readers actually will say, smiley wink.
Yep.
So the screen readers Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Exactly. They used to just do like the death, but now it's the actual emoticon. So like he sent it to me. He's like, "Dude, I can't see that." it was funny, but no, I think our dynamic is like total. It is different, but not different in the way that they're thinking. So it's just So that's a good question. Sweet. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I'll direct this at you, Tim, right off the bat. It's what are your most anticipated games of 2016? This is from Chris from Iowa. So, what are you playing right now, Tim? Or what kind of games do you like? We didn't get into that. Like, what kind of games you like, and what are you looking forward to next year?
Yeah, definitely. So I set up a list of games that I thought were really interesting.
Ooh, let's listen.
Earlier on. Okay, so I have 4 out of the ones that are coming out right now. Dead Island 2.
Yep.
Doom.
Ooh, yeah, that one, the remake, yes.
Street Fighter 5. So you and me, man, we're gonna have to play. We're gonna have to get like a good little 3-way game going here.
For sure.
John, you take winner?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome. And then Mass Effect.
You're a Mass Effect guy, huh?
Yeah, they're awesome. It's it's right up there with the BioShock kind of thing, but the big scare and the fear that's going on. Yeah, I'm just that. Those are my bigs for next year.
And you can tell a lot about a person with the type of games they play. All those games are almost like kind of the same, besides Street. But like again, the Dead Island and the Mass Effect, that's kind of like the deal. Interesting. I've played Mass Effect 2 a little bit, and then I played 3 a lot more. Played probably like 20, 30 hours of 3. Never finished it. And they're cool games, but they just didn't really grab me. I do like the universe they create, though. Pretty cool. But I think for me, the games that I'm looking forward to would be obviously Uncharted. That's going to be pretty awesome. I think I do want to get into Street Fighter again. So when you said Street Fighter 5, like I would love to play that. I've never been super good at fighters. I mean, I was good at Street Fighter when it came out. And I was really good at Tekken 3. Like that was like Tekken 2 and 3. Like I was pretty good at those. But the fighting community, like Evo, where they memorize the frame to where like they block and everything. It's just ridiculous.
It was like Street Fighter 2, and I could still see.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was at this like fair one day, and I put in 1 quarter, and I was just mowing everyone down on the other side. Like,
well, that's type of games you play. Like again, I'm the cinematic slow player, and like I like RTS games and I like sports games too. But and like the bigger experiences, and then like it seems like Tim, you like those scary kind of eerie type of things.
I'm a bit of a horror fan.
Yeah, and then John is hyper competitive, so he's like hardcore fighting games and sports games. Like that's his thing. So it's pretty interesting. Yes, I would definitely say Uncharted. No Man's Sky, I'd love to play that. It's going to be pretty awesome. Just kind of see what it finally is. Like what the heck all the hubbub is about, and can we play it? So that'll be pretty cool. So yeah, that's it for me. But I'll play a lot more than that, I'm sure. I'll probably play all the games that come out as much as I can. So, this is a good one. I like this question. It's from Willie R. I don't know where he's from, but I'm gonna say, Willie, you are from Saskatchewan. All right. So he says, "Hey guys, $1 million question here. Which is better, freelancing in the gaming industry or working for a studio/company full time, whether it's an indie or AAA?" Ooh, Tim, as our resident freelancer, what's up?
All over the board. I've done contract work. I've worked for AAA. I've worked, everything in between. I think that's definitely everyone's personal path. The one thing I would recommend people doing is go to a studio and figure out that it doesn't matter how much money that a studio has, they have no idea what they're doing. Nobody has any idea what they're doing.
That's why I have a job, man. That's what I do. I'm a creative producer for games companies, and I go in and I'm the business guy. I'm like, okay, this is how you do the game. Here's the art team. Here you set it up. That's why I have a job these days. Exactly.
That's dead right. Well, and they do the same thing for me. They bring me into studios, and they're like, oh yeah, no, we have a guy who basically just renames stuff and puts files into another folder. I'm like, I replace you with a 2-line shell script. Like, are you good with that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Perfect.
Find and replace.
Find all replace. Replace with.
It's horrible. horrible. So, I mean, I can honestly say for me, since I'm such a generalist and I get bored, I get bored just coding, I get bored just doing optimization. I like the freelance lifestyle. Cool. I really do. But, that's every individual person's thing. I would definitely say go to a studio, get to a studio, see what it's all about. Start there, yeah, for sure. And then, if anything, if you want to see how stuff can get built really fast, do an art house, do a contract house. Wow, man, you will figure out what you can do on shoe screens. You'll learn what magic is for sure.
So. Yeah, I think it's good advice there. So there you go, Willie. You heard it. You heard it from the best. We got time for one more. This is a two-parter, but it shouldn't take too long. Yeah, let's do this. This is from Matthew from Illinois. It says, John and Ted, what's up, fellas? I have two questions, completely unrelated, but that's okay, right? The boss battle segment is one of my favorite parts of the show. Are you guys going to be sticking with prominent video game bosses, or do you have plans to expand it to more obscure enemies, or even broadening it to video game characters in general? Maybe movie characters or real-world characters would be cool, too. Yeah. That's cool. And then his next question is, what TV shows are you guys into? I ask this because I don't watch TV a lot, but I have Netflix, and because I wonder if John has shows that he is interested in listening. Well, there you go, John. Another question for you. So
there you go.
So let's unpack the boss battle question. What do you think on that? I think we're definitely going to expand it as we go. I think it's fun just to do because there's so many awesome evil bosses in video games. I mean, they make some of the best villains of all time, and there's movie villains that are great, but there's also so many video game villains that are pretty cool. I
know we talked about even designing some of our own.
Oh yeah, exactly. We're going to do that too eventually. So that'll be a fun thing to do, creating our own bosses, and we'll have, even when we do bosses, we can even make, hey, you can fight Mario one time. Who knows? Why not? Who cares? And then so. It'll definitely advance, but right now we're just having fun with all these, evil video game guys because there's so many, and we're enjoying it. So, and like I say, you never know. Like a pretty good villain out there, we can do stuff like fight the presidential candidates, fight Bill Clinton, or not Bill Clinton, but fight a Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. You can fight them for a week. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't like Trump. He seems as a villain, but hey, if you're on the other side, you don't like Hillary, you can fight them too. So fight her too. So there you go. Maybe we'll do that. So that's that, Matthew. John, I'll let you do the TV shows stuff. Are there shows you're interested in by hearing them and listening?
Yeah, I listen. I like The Office.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
The British or the American?
The American. I like the British one myself. I actually
one season is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love British humor. I have dry humor, so I love like the IT Crowd. That's a funny show too.
That's awesome. I haven't seen it. Is it good?
Oh yeah,
I'm looking for a new show soon because I don't really watch TV much. But at night, at the end of the night, Sean and I usually watch something after dinner or something real quick before I go back to work or something. So
yeah. IT Crowd. Let's see what else. I mean, I don't really watch any actually running shows still.
Right.
I finally just watched all of 30 Rock somewhat recently.
Okay.
So, that was a pretty funny show. So I watched stuff like that. I actually just discovered, too, that Netflix now has descriptive video for not a ton of stuff, but, there's maybe 50 or 60 things in the list, which I thought was cool.
Really? So, and how does that work? I'm not familiar with that.
So descriptive video, basically, what happens is they have someone come in and sort of narrate over the show. So
cool.
If there's a scene that's or a section of the scene that's quiet where someone walks over to the table and puts down picks up an apple, a narrator will come on the screen and will say Jessica walked across the room and picked up an apple off the table.
Nice.
So that way a blind person will be like, oh, okay, I know what's going on now.
Cool.
So Netflix actually introduced it when they announced their Daredevil series on Netflix. They announced Daredevil was the first to have the descriptive video because Daredevil's a blind superhero,
right?
So they made that descriptive. But yeah, The Office, all of those episodes are descriptive video. Daredevil, all of Netflix produced shows are I forget the full name of the show, the Kimmy Schmidt show that Netflix produced. We watched that. It's pretty funny. But I usually don't really watch stuff too much because, with 5 kids, if I have time to do something, I'm not going to spend it.
Yeah, well, I hear a little one in the background right now having some fun.
Yeah. So, if I have time to do something, I'm going to I probably have work to do or, so, but I normally will just put something on even in the background, even if we're not really watching it. But,
sure.
I also like The Voice. We watch some Hulu.
Oh, nice.
So,
The Voice, for sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Tim, what do you got for shows?
Yeah, I'm actually watching Broadchurch right now, which is has David Tennant as a police officer in a small town in the UK. It's about a murder. It's a whole story. It's really, really good. Of course, David Tennant brings a phenomenal performance. And I just finished up the first season of Jessica Jones, which was awesome. They have Luke Cage in there, and it opens up the entire Marvel universe. So.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those. So yeah, I have to get those from you guys because I'm looking for some new shows here during my little lull. But I'm big into House of Cards. That's like my jam. That's awesome. And then my favorite show is Vikings on the History Channel. That show is amazing. And I was really into Game of Thrones, but this last season, just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. It sucked. It was terrible and boring. And getting tired of it, but I was really huge into it. But I'm still going to watch the next season. But every episode from episode 4 on this season, I was bored. I forgot it came on. So Sundays usually I'm really excited, but I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. It's been 3 weeks I haven't watched the Game of Thrones. So that's bad. But
yeah.
But Vikings and then I watched I watched all of Community, the show. I watched all of Scrubs and all of The Office, both British and so I like those kind of stupid dopey comedies that are kind of like that. Modern Family, love it. So but yeah. So there you go. That's what you get, Matthew. I think it's going to do it for emails. Oh, darn it. I forgot to mention, if you want to email us, you got to email into jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com. John, you're supposed to yell at me when I don't say that in the beginning.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you guys want to send an email, send it to jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com. So at the end of every show, we have a closeout segment, and we had one last week that was Guess That Game, right?
Yeah.
And so, John, I'll let you do the recap of that, and we'll announce the winner, and then we'll do our segment for this week, and we're done.
We'll see if Tim can guess it. So, This game, the protagonist, see if I can even remember it. The protagonist is a bald, strong cave boy who battles anthropomorphic dinosaurs and other prehistoric-themed enemies.
Oh, so it's a Nintendo game. Is it... I have no idea what the name is, but I
it's actually a TurboGrafx 16 game.
Oh no, yeah, you're before my time. Nope.
It's Bonk's Adventure.
Oh, Bonk. Okay.
Bonk's Adventure. So actually, we had a winner. It was Brandon from Berkeley, California. He correctly got that, and so Brandon, good job. And
nice.
We will be in contact with you. So good job, Brandon. So for this week's closeout segment, to get out of here, it is a Ted's Top List. Yeah. So this week, my top list, just because it's Ted's Top 10 Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And just so you know how it works, the top lists are not necessarily the best. These are my favorites and what I consider. So for all you haters, write in and say, no, these are my personal favorites. Okay?
Get to the chopper.
Yeah. And also my favorite movie of all time is also the number 1 on this list. So we will get to that. So let's start at number 10. For my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies is number 10 is The Escape Plan. Relatively new by him. It's actually a pretty good movie. I watched it a couple times. Not bad. You guys seen that one?
Is Kindergarten Cop on your list?
Number 9 is Kindergarten Cop. Who is a daddy and what does he do? Yes.
The tuna.
Exactly. That's number 9 on the list. Number 8 is Conan the Barbarian.
Oh,
yeah. You gotta love it. Like the girl in his cage. Number 7 is The Terminator. Very nice. Number 6, True Lies. I really like that movie. It's a good one. Number 5 is Number 5 is Commando. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Commando. Number 4, Total Recall.
Oh yeah.
Number 3. This is a childhood favorite. May not be the best, but it's a favorite. But Last Action Hero, fantastic movie.
Never saw that one.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Have you seen that one, Tim?
Yeah.
That's like a kid. Tim? What year were you born in?
I was born in 84.
Okay, so this is right in your time. That's good. So this is like you're 11, 12, 13 when it came out. So that's what I loved it. Number 2 was Terminator 2, Judgment Day. There you go. Fantastic. And number 1, top 10 Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, which is also my favorite movie of all time, is Predator. Oh, yes. That is my favorite movie. I've seen that movie over 100 times. When I'm bored, I'll watch that movie. It's my favorite movie. So number 1 is also Predator. So
I said you have to cover yourself in mud when you watch it, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yep.
Exactly.
It's like, come on, do it. I'm here. Do it.
That's even now.
Honorable mentions are The Expendables, Conan the Destroyer, and The Running Man. So,
Running Man. Baby.
Yeah, so those are the honorable mentions. But yeah, there you go. There's the top list of the week. I think that's it for the show, guys. Good run. Appreciate the time. And so before we get out of here, Tim, give one more little shout out to yourself. How do we get a hold of you? Thanks for being on.
Yeah. So once again, the name is Timothy Porter, and it's www.timcoolmode.com.
TimCoolMode.com. You heard it right there. So, yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of us, get a shout out to us on Twitter. All of our social media is JTEX Gamecast. That's Twitter, Instagram, everything. Join our Facebook group, John and Ted's Excellent Gamecast group. You can follow us on iTunes, subscribe, share it with your friends. We're also on Stitcher, Google Play, all the above. Go to the new podcast website. It is www.RaptorCow.com/JTEX Gamecast. My personal Twitter is Tedwards44, Tedwards44. John's is JNADO7, NATO spelled NADEAU. And go ahead and email us at the show at JTEXGamecast@RaptorCow.com. So that's going to do it for the show, guys. Thanks a lot, and until next week, see ya.
Game over.